Every couple of months, this big issue comes up on Facebook. And it almost makes me laugh a little bit, but at the same time it truly grieves me. And we get in trouble because we claim that you can't be an abolitionist unless you believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ. Because we refuse to allow pagans and atheists and Catholics to join our fight. Because we say that we will not work with unbelievers. And we're told by pagans, we are told by atheists, we are told by Catholics how horrible we are for doing this. We even have some who proclaim to be evangelical Christians and Protestants that tell us that we're in the wrong. But so we have to look at why we don't work with the unbeliever. We have to look at why that is so important. And so the very, very first thing, like in every other aspect of the work we do, is we have to go to the Word of God. And what does God say? He says, do not be unequally yoked. Do not be unequally yoked. Because what does wickedness and righteousness have in common? So let me ask you, what does foolishness, the desire to deny that God does not exist, have in common with preaching the gospel? Because, see, we keep repeating it over and over, and people just seem to forget that we have said it already. We believe that souls are far more important than lives. And we recognize that our first calling from God is to preach the gospel, and our second calling is to save innocent lives. So what does the fool have in common with the righteous? Or what does the pagan, those who practice wickedness in the eyes of God, have to do with those who strive for the righteousness that He called us to? How can the two of those come together and work? How can those who deny that the image of God exists protect the image of God? How can the atheist who denies that there is such thing as morality stand for a moral issue? How can we work with one who denies the gospel of Jesus Christ and who claims that you get to heaven through various forms of works, stand side by side with us as we preach the gospel that you are saved by faith alone, by the grace of a sovereign God? They don't stand side by side. So you see, we don't say that we don't work with unbelievers because we hate the unbeliever. We don't say that we won't work with the Catholic because we think less of a Roman Catholic follower. We don't say that we won't work with the atheist because we hate him. We say so because the Word of God tells us so. And because it would be illogical, it would be counterproductive to the cause of preaching the gospel and abolishing abortion. And so we keep getting this accusation that says that we are dividing the movement, that we're damaging the pro-life movement. Well, first off, I don't see how any damage could really happen to a godless movement that has failed consistently for 40 years. And second off, good. Good. Because as long as people team together in these wicked orgies of faith systems and beliefs, God will never bless that union. Do you believe that God would bless the union of a Muslim and a Baptist? Do you believe that God would bless that marriage? What about that business? Because the Word of God says that He He won't. The Word of God specifically states that that is wrong and that we're not to do that. And so if we were to team up with the unbeliever, we would be damaging our own cause. We would be damaging the gospel that we preach. We would fall into this bizarre trap that the Rick Warrens of the world, practicing Chrislam and practicing watered-down Christianity, have fallen into, and we would begin to preach a false gospel, one that God would not bless. And so if you want to work with AHA, I recommend that you open up your word and you go to John 3:3, where Jesus says that no man can enter the kingdom of heaven unless he's been born again. And you look into that very closely and very specifically, and you say, is this the truth? And if it is, then I plead with you to do so. But if you're doing so is it out of a desire to join AHA, I can promise you it won't last and you won't see the fruit of it. But hey, if that's what you want, then look at that. Don't come crying to me because I don't want an atheist teaching people about the image of a God that he denies and the moral law that he claims is completely relative. I would rather follow what God says, and to stay only with those who are my brothers, and to only be yoked with brothers and sisters who stand with me and are fighting for the same cause, for the same reasons, and with the same truth behind us.